Hey everybody, Adam Savage in my cave, and today we're doing a materials-based build. I just made that term up. What does that mean? I have talked a lot about on the channel about how shops develop over the course of a maker's lifetime. And that one of the marks of an early maker is that the time and money expenses are distributed this way. You have lots of time and no money. That's a beginning maker. Tons of time, no dough. And time is the thing that you can trade. Time is the asset you can spend. So you can tell people that you could do their project, and it might take you a lot longer than it takes a professional, but that's fine. That's how you build that professional experience. So in the beginning of your life as a maker, a physical maker, but I mean, across many different modalities, at the beginning of your life, materials are the most expensive thing. Your time is the cheapest. Later in your life, it will be totally the opposite. Materials are the cheapest part of your equation. Your time is the most valuable. Where that switch occurs is different for everybody, but we're talking about beginning makers where the materials are the expensive thing to stock up the shop with. So as a young maker, one of the things I did was I would tell theaters, different theaters that I worked with, hey, I'll build this prop for you for free if I can keep it when it's done, and you pay for materials. And this is how I got the first amounts of plywood and plastic and aluminum tube into my cave to work with. I'm telling you all this because a couple of years ago, one of my old Mythbuster producers, Dennis Kwan, was working for a Silicon Valley startup. And Silicon Valley startups have a tendency to burn some dough. They spend money a lot to move forward. And the startup he worked for had a bunch of stuff left over. And he called me up and was like, come on down, or I think he even dropped a bunch of it off. And one of the things he dropped off was 2 5-foot lengths of aluminum C-channel with a, I think this is a 1/2-inch wall and a 3/8 inch back. Let's see here. Yeah, that's just about a 1/2-inch wall and just about a little more than a 1/4 inch back. So look, I could not pass up such a magnificent expanse of aluminum. And extruded aluminum, by the way, is quite flat. It's very reasonably flat. It doesn't really bear on this build. But anyway, I could not pass up 2 giant chunks of aluminum. The old collector in me is like, yes, big chunks of stock. If I needed to buy this, I didn't even know what it costs per foot. Oh, right. Let's tell you what the actual cross section is. I'm sure someone in the comments will tell me this is 1 foot by 4 inches. So 12 by 4. It's a lot of aluminum. Just in terms of the weight, it's a lot of aluminum. So I was never going to pass this up, 2 chunks of this. But what do you do with it? And I thought through a lot of different things. And then I was last year working on this thing, my guest book, which is a book that I built and bound using roughly correct bookbinding techniques. There's a link to this video in the description. But when I did this book, one of the steps after you have separated out your signatures, sewn them together, the next step is those subsequent steps where you're wrapping and covering and doing all that really benefit from having a book press. And a book press is something I don't have in the cave, which is really funny. I grew up with a book press. My dad had one in his studio, and he probably picked it up at a thrift store, like most book presses. And just to describe, a book press is a platform with an arm above it on 2 stalks and a big wheel up top, and you turn the wheel, and the platform comes down and squeezes whatever you have in between there, usually a book. And I started looking for book presses. They're usually made of cast iron, and they're expensive. Moreover, they're heavy, so they're expensive not just to buy, but also to ship. And Craigslist wasn't turning anything up. And also, this is just one little pet peeve. I have seen 3 book presses in the last month, all in bars. There's a special something about bars that are using what I consider useful tools as a decoration. And I tried to buy one, and that didn't work. Anyway, I decided to build a book press out of, gotta get to this phone meeting. I decided after getting cranky about book presses sitting in bars unused and expensive to ship on eBay, I decided to build my own using this aluminum. I figure that when I have I have two pieces here. This is the other piece. I've already done a little bit of cutting here. I figure that squishing a book between these two plates is totally sufficient. If I deem that it is not sufficient, I have ways, I have ideas. Let's make a book press. Oh, I totally forgot. I have one thing that's really important for a book press. The wheel. I love big wheels. I love big hand wheels. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous wheel. This will do me nicely. Close the valve, close the valve. I don't know why I made a submarine movement in my head right there. Okay, so the first part of the table will be, the first part of my book press will be the main table. This is 18 inches wide by 12 inches deep. Sure. And I am going to be cutting down so then there's this, which is the Acme screw that brings the pressure down. And that needs to live on an arm that goes above this that floats between two sides. And then between those two sides, there will be a pair of bars that hold this bad boy, and that will allow the pressure to be transferred. So the next thing I need to do is cut a second 18-inch piece to be the pressure plate. Then I'm going to take down its sides, and for the two pieces that go on the side here, I am also going to be removing much of the sides. I don't need that much for strength. So, to the table. Okay, I have successfully captured the push plate with a roll pin cap in here. Sorry I didn't get that on camera. I thought I was rolling. Classic tale. So we've got this business. Oh, right. I need to crack these open. These need to be opened up. What is the next one? Oh, 3/8. That's what I wanted. Okay, so I've opened this up. That should allow me to place where my there they are. All right, so great. Bam! That is lovely. We trace now. And then we take the quarter. With the quarter. That's the 3/8. I've got that somewhere. I'll put that away in a minute. The quarter. That's what I want. The quarter. There she is. So. And we drill a number 7. I got a 7 on there already. All right. Back. Let's go look over here. I've got to raise that puppy up. Why, yes, I have considered a motorized Z-axis on my drill press. Why do you ask? Okay, the moment of truth and beauty. We're functional. It's all a little tight because I've just completed it. And it moves a little bit more than I was hoping, but that's easy to deal with. Right now, I'm pretty happy with that as a first pass of operation. That is really neat. And it's a nice, yeah, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I was really hoping to wrap this today, but that is just a fantasy. It's not going to happen. I'm going to wash my hands. I'm washing my hands of this. Tomorrow, I put that, see, doesn't it? It finishes the whole look. Tomorrow's task, oh, that was a neat sound. Tomorrow's task is I'm going to machine a brass bushing between this and make a through pin and then cut that off there. Then, look at that! Look at that! She's a pretty. I'm very pleased. This is really great. It's compact. It's lovely. It's mine. Yeah. Okay. So what am I doing here? I'm actually putting in a sheet of Delrin between the top pressure plate and the underside because I got some holes through here, and those holes will cause me problems later. I'm going to glue this in. I'm going to wash my hands and I'm going to glue this in with some UHMW. I admit defeat. Remember how good I felt about this yesterday? Feel even better today. Oh, it is a very smooth and solid and easy moving machine. I could not be happier. Shall we sign it? Let's sign it.